my line of work over the years was in the psychology department. I used to teach psychosocial rehab, and that is if you've got someone saying that they are a dog or they are a tree, significant mental illness, it is my responsibility to not agree with that delusion. Don't feed into that delusion. You have got to say, no, you really are not a dog. You really are not a tree. I can see you as a human right in front of me. You do not feed in to the delusion. And for those people out there who are on the woke train, and you are, if your name is Bruce, you look like a man, you've got a full beard, and you've got a full mustache, and you are dressed in men's clothes, and you identify as Sasha or Victoria, and you expect me to call you Sasha or Victoria, and not expect me to say, hey, young man, can I get you to help me for a moment? If I fed into the Sasha and the Victoria that young man was playing in his head, I am not doing him any favors whatsoever. I am not judging. I am not judging, folks. Let them be them. Do not expect me, if you are an obvious male, do not expect me to call you a she. I am not going to do it, folks. I am not. So with that said, I identify as Laura Jean, a 57 middle-aged woman living in the woods. I identify as being a good, honest, hard worker. I identify as being a good human. I also identify as not putting up with bullshit. I believe in backups, right? So I have a compost toilet, and I have a compost. And if you follow me for any amount of time, especially on my old channel, I demonstrated how that worked, right? And if you do it right, there's zero stench, folks, zero smell. So in order to use that system, some people call it a sawdust toilet, and sometimes I do too. But I found that sawdust, it works good. It works good. But I find peat moss works better. So I buy it by the big block, right? And that's doubled in price. I just had opened one block, and I only go through one and a half blocks a year, folks. I had opened up one, and that was my backup. So immediately, within a day or two, I went and got another block. Well, I asked them if it was dry. I needed it dry, and they said it was. Well, I got it home, and it was froze solid, folks. So I went today looking for more peat moss. But on that journey looking for more peat moss, I needed this young man's assistance. He looked like he was about 20, 25 years old, tall, thin, full beard. And I said, "Hey, young man," I said, "Can I bother you for a moment? I'm looking for peat moss, and I'm not finding it where it usually is." And he turned around and he pointed to his name tag. And his name tag says, "You can call me Sasha or Victoria." So I read his name tag, kind of somewhat out loud, not really, but, and I looked at him, and he had this beautiful smile. He said, "How can I help you today?" I said, "Well," I said, "I'm looking for Pete Moss." I said, "But," I said, "you've got Sasha or Victoria on your tag. Which is which?" He said, "Well, it's very feminine, folks. Women don't talk as feminine as this young man does. I'm just gonna say it right out there. I'm pretty tolerant, folks. I am. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you don't believe in Christianity. I don't care what you do as long as you don't bring me into any of your beliefs. You go do what you want. I'll do what I want. Long as they're not bringing me into it, all is good. All is good." So I have a hard time shutting my mouth, folks. I do. Hey! I have a hard time shutting my mouth, and some days I can manage a little bit of control over my mouth, but a lot of days I just let it go. I just say, "Hey, you know what? Today is one of them." So I said, what is your birth name, young man?" And he kind of went. I said, "No." I said, "What's your birth name?" He said, "Bruce, but I like to be called either Sasha or Victoria." I said, "Okay, Bruce, I need to know where the peat moss is. Can you direct me in that direction?" And he just looked at me like he really didn't know what to say, like I had just crushed his heart, or I just scolded him or shamed him. I said, "Listen," I said, "there's no offense here. There's no offense. But you've got a full beard. You're dressed in uniform, which is obviously a male uniform. You look like a man. You have a full beard like a man. But you're talking like a very, very, very feminine woman," which I have never heard, really. "And you're asking you to call you either Sasha or Victoria." I said, "I'm of that generation where if on your birth certificate it says your birth name is Bruce, I'm going to call you Bruce. I'm not going to feed into this woke generation. I'm not going to feed in to the delusion, because it's a delusion." He looked at me like I was his grandmother, shaming him. That wasn't the point. My point is, and I was very direct. I wasn't mean. I wasn't condescending. I wasn't any of that. It was just a matter of fact. Your birth name is Bruce. I am going to call you Bruce. So he directed me where I got a piece of hair, folks. It's driving me crazy. He directed me where the peat moss was, and I got 2 bags. So now I've got a backup on my backup, right? All of that. So, and sometimes I have that mother in me. I just do. It's just the mother in me that comes out. And I don't care how old you are. If you need to be spoken to, I'm going to speak to you. I was in a grocery line once years ago, over 10 years ago. And there was this young man. I don't think he was 11 or 12 years old, folks. And he had his pants almost all the way down to his knees. I don't know how he's holding them pants up, honest to God. And he had white briefs on. And he was in line ahead of me, along with his mother. Instinctively, folks, and I don't go and put my hands on strangers, I reached over and found 2 belt loops, and I hiked his pants right up over his butt, and he swung around and backed right into his mother, which made her turn around. And I said, young man, your pants were falling down. I just thought you would like to know that your pants are almost down to your knees. You've got white briefs on with skid marks. So either you blew productive gas or you didn't wipe clean enough. Well, I tell you, his mother just about split a gut, along with others. But I was still serious. I said, I didn't think you wanted people in the store seeing a productive skid mark on your briefs. I didn't think you wanted them to see that. You can tell the horror in his face, thinking that he had feces, that he was walking around the store thinking he was cool and all of that with his pants hanging down, strutting through the store. Because I saw him. I never saw him up close, but through the store, I would see him. The horror on his face, folks. Mother laughed. Thought it was quite funny. A few others thought it was funny. I was just as serious as I am right now. I guarantee he went home and he checked the backside of his shorts if there was any skid marks there. I'm not going to feed into the delusion, folks. If you all disagree with me and you feel you have to leave this channel, that's the way you feel, you go right ahead. You're not going to change my mind. If you are a biological male, I am going to call you he. If you are a biological female, I am going to call you a she. I'm just going to do that. That gray area when you're born with both sexes was 1 out of 2,000 babies, right? 1 of every 2,000 people. I don't know what the statistics are now, but that's what it used to be. So there is that gray, right? You have a male part. You have a female part. I can't even imagine the confusion and the choices that they have to make in life. I just can't imagine. And to think that out of all the people in the world, 1 out of every 2,000 people have to deal with that. That doesn't seem right, does it? It just doesn't seem right. So there is that gray area. There is that gray area, folks, right? So anyway, this is the uncensored hippie chick. It just is, folks. I've got a lot of opinions. And again, I think I'm rational. I think I'm pretty level-headed in a lot of my thinking. That's what I believe. I identify as being a rational thinker. So if you've taken offense to this, I'm sorry. You have a right to your opinion in your life. I have a right to my opinion in my life. I'm not judging. Just don't expect me to feed into the delusion, because I'm not going to do it, folks. I owe you as a human being that respect. That young man that was born a male, his name was Bruce on the certificate. He hasn't changed his name because he said he couldn't figure out which name he wanted to go with. So he's already having 2 identity crises right there, right? It's really sad, folks. It's really sad. I am not going to feed in to somebody's delusion. It goes against all my training all these years. It's gone against everything that I have been taught. And it goes against everything that I feel. So, there's that. I kind of expect my subscriber count will go down after this video. It's all right. It's all right. Y'all can have your opinion. I can have mine. You put up a YouTube channel. Invite me to watch your videos so I can listen to your intake. I won't judge you. You won't judge me. We can learn to disagree and still get along. That's just the adult way, right? So anyway, there you go. I'm going to grab an armload of wood. All right, I got to go. 17 minutes. Holy hand, this probably won't even load up until I get online somewhere. So you all be good. Bye-bye.